Hey review family, keep it tight. My name is Jay Morris and welcome back to the Metal Tempest. And in this video I'm going to be going over the best metal releases this week in the underground for you guys to check out to put some things on your guys' radar. Obviously, let me know what your favorite records were in the comment section below, and also in a pinned comment I will be linking all of the bands that I talk about in this video and wherever you can listen to their records. Alright, so I have 4 records to talk about today and one honorable mention, which I will get into. The reason it's an honorable mention is it's not one that was released this week, but one I still want to suggest because when I was looking through releases, I found it and I actually really ended up enjoying it, and I think a lot of you guys will as well, so even though it's not current, it's sliding into the list. As in technicality, I discovered it this week. The first record I'm going to be putting on your guys' radar is the EP Relapse and Judgement by the band Crawlspace. These guys are a 4-piece death grind band coming out of Finland, and I actually really ended up digging this EP because it's a soupy death metal record, lots of grimy, low, morbid type of riffs, but what I enjoyed was a lot of these riffs are very doom metal inspired, and even the moments that are quicker that still are gritty have this layer of doom influence. A very harsh mix, and not in the sense of like inaudible or unenjoyable, but more so just they lay on the blood and guts. One thing I was pleasantly surprised by is this record is like bursting at the seams with punk influence, which it isn't the first time that death metal has been crossed with crust punk or just punk music in general, and there's literally an entire subgenre and subculture within grindcore that is influenced by hardcore punk and especially crust punk, so it's nothing that's too unfamiliar. I mean, in their experimental era, even Napalm Death toyed with that. Just some solid doom-influenced Finnish death metal with those striking blast beat-led grindcore moments of pure destruction. I love how they mix death metal and grindcore and punk. And if you're the type of person that with death metal or genres influenced with death metal or by death metal, not being just aggressive from start to finish, this might be a good record to listen to because you do have a lot of slower moments across this record that either build up where they're going to next or are very slathered in that doom metal influence, like I said. And if you weren't convinced already, as the little cherry on top, there's a Sepultura cover on this. Okay, this record has been perplexing me with its name because it's Polish, and, you know, I think no one's gonna be surprised that I don't speak Polish, but this is definitely my favorite record on the list this week. Moonthoth with the record Urocyzsko. And I would sincerely like to humbly apologize to the Polish people. Y'all have been through enough, and the last thing you need is the walking fucking lampshade that I am butchering your language, but we'll get through it. This record's an atmospheric black metal record, but not what you think. Because I guarantee whatever you're thinking of when you think of atmospheric black metal, this project's probably on the outskirts of that. And what I mean by that is these riffs, these songs are not pretty in the conventional way. They are not atmospheric in the pretty way. These riffs are demented, and there are moments with strings that are just twitching in this mix, feeling like they're about to explode. And the best way that I can describe this record is the atmospheric black metal equivalent of a tight rubber band being wrapped around something so hard that it's just restraining it and wanting to pop and just go with all this energy. What I mean by that is it makes you feel like you're about to pop from the tension that this record builds. It's phenomenal. This is atmospheric black metal in the twisted up, gnarled way. This isn't the cold, frigid mountains of Russia. This isn't the vast, lush forests of Finland. This isn't even the black gaze coming out of France and America in the 2010s. This is a feverish and horrifying listening experience, simply using atmospheric black metal as its vessel, as the template. And I guess in contrast to a lot of modern atmospheric black metal, there is very little dark ambient and just ambient or folk music influence in this in general. I can definitely hear it at certain points, but it definitely favors the quick, the relentless, the scary, the feverish. Not to mention this record has some very incredible bass work, very grimy, very low. And I'm just impressed that this is all from one person, Nocturnal. Obviously, solo black metal projects aren't anything new. That's like the entire fucking genre at this point. But like, with no disrespect meant, the archaic and lo-fi black metal of nowadays can't hold a candle to this. It has its place, but this is definitely the type of black metal I prefer. Blistering mix, amazingly layered, just no bullshit, and really an odyssey to embark on. If you're gonna check out a record from this list, please, I implore you, check this one out. Next up, I'm going to be shouting out the Conspiracy of Zero record, Ahthos, Arouris. This This is the second full-length release and just the second release in general from the Thessaloniki 5-piece progressive death metal band Conspiracy of Zero. For those of you that are a fan of the Greek progressive metal scene that has been really popping in the last decade or so, I really suggest checking this record out. They incorporate death metal in a really unique and fun way that pays a lot of homage to the Greek scene. And anyone that's familiar with progressive rock or progressive metal coming out of the Greek scene are going to see how they bear that torch and combine it with death metal in a really thrilling way. It's very good at merging the combination of sounds of these very catchy solos and these extremely smooth transitions is one thing I want to point out. These harsh lows as well as the thrash metal influence of 80s death metal combined with the European death metal scene. This record is just pleasant on the ears is the best way I can say it. It really is just catchy. Lots of great grooves and prominent usage of time signatures. You can tell that a lot was put into the riffs and that this record was just overall made with a lot of love. Not only from the genres they were pulling from, but just their music in general. The chemistry is great. Slicing solos and these earwormy riffs that just roll around and twirl around in your head, all sorts of fuzziness, and just coincides well with the vocals. If you're looking for a good combination of genres from a really unique scene, check this band out. Next up, I want to shout out Diaspora with Pendulum. Harmonious, melodic, dripping with atmosphere. This is like if Opeth's more progressivisms in their progressive metal era had a love child with Dream Theater and Tool. It has the sullen Scandinavian influence of that progressive metal that Opeth performed, combined with the lavish and cinematic theatrics of Dream Theater, but the technicality and the intimate production of a Tool, and it all just comes together to make a really cool sound. It's such a claustrophobically intimate mix, and that is something that I like to hear progressive metal and rock do, because it just makes the riff stand out so much more prominently. It dances in your ears, and the vocals just carry this sort of urgency despite being hushed and forlorn. And it has some really poetic songwriting behind it. Like, the lyrics definitely stand out, as you can tell that they were crafted very meticulously and with some clear inspiration in mind. One thing I will say, it's a very long experience, so grab a snack and sit down if you're going to listen to this. I highly suggest listening to it in one go, because it seamlessly just turns into one experience that's really cool, and despite its long runtime, it justifies its length by keeping you on your toes, keeping you guessing, and not staying in one lane for too long, blending these progressive metal ragers with these progressive rock interludes, and those moments that have a lot of metallic heaviness to them is really balanced out well by these softer interludes and these intermissions that sort of transition you from one part of the album to the next, and have just this lavish way of taking you and guiding you through each soundscape. And finally, the honorable mention I wanted to give is to the record Blasting Trilok 1 by Absolutism. This record was not released this week, but I wanted to put it on your radar regardless. This thing is pummeling, and I stumbled across it, and I wanted to put it on your guys' radar because I think that a lot of you that have liked certain records I've reviewed would enjoy this. These are going to be the funniest three comparisons I ever make, but imagine if you took like the technicality of the riff writing of a Archspire and mixed it with the crazy time signatures and crazy shifting vocals this way and every way of a Rings of Saturn, and then to add in those gutturals and low heaviness and crushiness of a brutal death metal band like Dying Fetus, you're getting pretty close. Within the first song, you're met with such an intensity that pretty much just opens the whole record up and lets you know that it isn't fucking around. I mean, going along with the Dying Fetus comparison, it's the wrong one to fuck with. The layers of technicality coming from the riffs, the towering drums that are just so well equalized in the mix, the staccato riff writing, it all comes together very good. It's also a concept record, diving into the apocalypse, and as it says, and as the Bandcamp states, excuse me, the darkest complexities of the human condition. Ain't that fun? Fun for the whole family. You can always count on Jay Morris to give you the fun, family-friendly content. But yeah, that's going to wrap up this video. What were your favorite records of this week? And like I said, in the comment section below, there will be a pinned comment where you can check out any of these records if any of them piqued your interest. I can't wait to hear your favorites. Let me know down below. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. My name is Jay Morris, and I'm signing off saying farewell.